Hi guys, these are MCQs for the third day's topic, which was theory of supply. In this question, they say what is not held constant when aggregating individual supply curves to give the short-run market supply curve. So the market supply curve is the horizontal summation of individual firm supply curves. So the right answer in this case will be B, because what we do is that we change the price of the product and keep on adding the supply of each and every firm to get the market supply curve. The diagram represents the market for diamonds. Here in this case, the supply curve is shifting backward, which means cost of production must be going up. Let's read the answer choices. The right answer in this case will be a rise in the wages of diamond miners. So if the diamond miners' wages go up, cost of production go up, and if the cost of production rises, supply curve shifts backward or supply falls. So D is the right answer. In question 5, they say, what could cause a shift in the supply curve for a good X and a movement along its supply curve? So a shift of the supply curve means the cost of production must be changing or new firms might be entering. So let's first look at the shift in the supply curve. A is a demand factor because that's changing consumer preferences. That's not a supply side factor. Decrease in factor productivity is a supply side factor, so I'm going to choose B. And increase in the price of complementary good again is a demand side factor, and increase in the wage rates in the industries is a supply side factor. So our answers can be B or D. A movement along the supply curve actually happens if there is a shift of demand curve. So if this is my demand curve and supply curve, if there is a rise or fall in demand, we have a movement along the supply curve. So you can see that in this diagram where demand changes, we might have a movement along the supply curve. So the right answer here in this case would be D, because a change in consumer preference means demand may go up or down, which would be a movement along the supply curve, while a shift in supply curve will happen because of change in the cost of production, which is happening because of an increase in the wage rates in the industry. In question 6, they give us an equation which says a supply curve is represented by the equation quantity supplied, QS, is equal to 10 plus 5P. Which price would cause the quantity supplied to double? So one way to go about this is just to plug in. Let's plug in answer A. When I put QS is equal to 10 plus 5 times 1, I get QS to be 15. But when I put price of $2 in the equation, QS becomes 10 plus 5 times 2, which means 20, 10 plus 10, which means 20. So that's not doubling, so A can't be the right answer. Let's look at B choice, and let's put $3. QS becomes 10 plus 5 times 3, which means 15 plus 10 makes it 25, which means it's not doubling as well, so B can't be the right answer. Let's try 4. QS is equal to 10 plus 5 times 4, which means 20 plus 10 means 30, and that's why C is the right answer, because at $1 quantity supplied is 15, while at $4 quantity supplied is 30. So it is doubling of the quantity supplied. So that's why C will be a right answer. In question 5, they say the diagram shows a shift in the supply curve from S1 to S2, which means supply curve is shifting backwards, so the cost of production must be going up. A says a decrease in the cost of production, which is wrong. B says a decrease in the popularity of the product, which means there's a demand factor, so that's also not true. C says a decrease in subsidy. So if the subsidy goes down, subsidy falls, cost of production goes up, and that would mean supply curve will shift backwards, so supply will fall. So that's why C is the right answer. D says a decrease in the tax on the good, which means again the cost of production should go down or supply should increase. So D is also wrong. In question 12, they say the soap industry consists of several firms. Firm X produces a small percentage of total output. So firm X is a small player in the market. What is likely to cause the supply curve for firm X to shift to the right? So supply is increasing, while the market supply to shift to the left, which means market supply is going down or decreasing. A says firm X has improved technology, which means that definitely supply will increase, while other firms have higher input costs, which means supply will decrease. So A is the right answer in this case. In this question, they give example of joint supply. They say jam and honey are substitutes. Honey and beeswax are in joint supply. Other things being equal, what will be the result of increase in the price of jam? If the price of jam goes up, and we'll do this in detail in a later discussion, but if the price of jam goes up, there is a possibility of a rise in the demand for honey, given that honey and jam are substitutes to each other. So demand for honey will go up. So let's say if this is my demand and supply of honey, so if jam is becoming expensive, people will be demanding more of honey, given honey is a substitute for jam, which means a rise in the price for honey, but more importantly, more honey will be produced or supplied, which will mean automatically, if you look at the market for beeswax, if this is demand and supply, because honey is beeswax is a byproduct of honey, supply will increase for beeswax, which would automatically mean there will be a lower price in the market for beeswax because supply is increasing. So this is my market for beeswax and this is for honey. So more honey production leads to higher supply of beeswax, which in turn leads to lower price for beeswax. So fall in the price of beeswax and rise in the price of honey. So C is the right answer.